and welcome to my new studio. I've finally moved in here. Still got to get the light sorted out, so it's a little bit quirky, but it's great. I've got so much room here and it's a lovely space to work in, even if it's a bit chilly. So I've got my big jumper on. And today I want to show you how I do an 8-inch square painting in acrylics of this cyclamen, and I'm only going to do it in half an hour. I've got my students doing small work this term, and it's been really interesting doing demonstrations for them and seeing just how much can be achieved in a short time with acrylics and a fairly big brush. So let's get started and I'll talk you through the whole process. I'm giving myself 30 minutes. Let's see how we do. See you later. So I've got this 8-inch square canvas board here that I've underpainted with pale umber acrylic paint. From Winsor and Newton's Galleria range. And that gives me a nice neutral colour to work on. It's not a stark white. And I'm going to sketch out in a kind of tertiary, warm brownish red the basic composition here. It's now 5 to 3 and I'm giving myself 30 minutes to complete this. I'm watering down my paint here for this sketch because I want to be able to do it very quickly. But after that I'm going to keep the water out of this, out of my paint, because acrylics look much better if you keep the water out of them. You get better quality colour and a better finish to the painting. I'm just looking at the back line of the table there. There's the line of the floor, the leaves and the flowers are here. So I'm just seeing this in the most broad way, and I'm looking at the negative spaces. I've got the board, I've got some rolled up tape behind it to hold it steady. I didn't want to have just a little board on the easel because there was a lot of light behind it earlier on when I set this up. That's gone. So I put some cardboard behind it to so that I haven't got a big contrast glare coming from the outside light, the sunshine outside. So I'm just using kind of purpley browny colours here just to block in. I'm closing one eye and squinting at this and just trying to find these shapes. So much easier if you can squint at your subject, just to simplify what you're seeing. And the plant itself is dark. It's got daylight behind it, so I'm going to just water that down again. Just want to rough in the dark shapes of the plant, and I'm still using this kind of purplish mixture. So that's at an angle there. And then this is also fairly dark behind here. What was nice earlier was the light coming through there. Well, there's a bit of that. There's some light coming through. There's light coming through these red flowers here, which is lovely. And that's really what I want to capture here. Okay, so I'm going to rinse out my brush, and I've got a cloth on my apron here. So I rinse the brush and dry it so it's just damp. And just checking my composition. I'm going to, there's quite a lot of fabric here, so that goes off there. And that's all light. And then there's shadow here on the fabric. So I'm going to put in the darkest areas now, which are this pot in shadow and these leaves. So I've got French ultramarine here, which I'm going to darken with red. And now I've got no water in it, so this is much thicker and drier than it was. I'm just holding the brush up to it to check how dark it needs to be. Closing one eye. I'm just going to put that in. And it helps to kind of give you something to work with once you get the dark shades once you get the dark tonal values in, once you get the dark tones in, very simply, it can help you see the structure of the painting much better. And there's leaves all over here. I'm using the same brush for everything at the moment. Because I'm kind of mixing all three colours together, so it's kind of okay at the moment. So there's lots of dark greens. I can darken green with a touch of red. I've got an alizarin red here because I wanted to get those deep, rich, velvety reds in the flowers. And I thought, I'm hoping alizarin will be the right colour for that. So I'm kind of roughing in where the leaves are. Filling it all in. Oh, and there's the angle grinder. Wonderful. I hope that doesn't spoil your hearing my commentary. Here's my green here. So this is the ultramarine blue and the cadmium yellow. That's a light cadmium yellow. And touch of red, just so that it's not too rich, not too vivid a green. So I'm putting red in and I'm deepening it with blue because there's some really dark in there. There's some dark shaded areas. I have got a light on in the studio too, so there is some light falling on the plant from behind me, but most of the plant is in dark contrast to the tabletop. I'm going to rinse that brush and put it down for a minute. I'm just drying it off, and I'm going to get a flat brush, and I've got to block in that background area where the door is and the curtain, which I'm going to start with some white on here and a bit of pink. I think it's a kind of creamy colour in the background. So make it plenty. I think I'm going to use quite a lot of this because it goes in various tones around in the background. Hold it up, that looks too dark, so just looking at that and thinking about how bright the window is. I've got to compare them really. So I'm going to cool it down a little bit. Here, Dads. Dudley. Dads. Dudley, here. Right, thank you. Now stop barking, I'm filming. So the doors start here. I think they probably need to be darker than that. When you put it on the painting, you just see everything in relation to everything else. So I'm deepening, I'm making this kind of darker, mixing all three colours together. I don't particularly want it to be any particular colour, so I'm just kind of balancing out. Obviously, you know, every time you put a colour in, it tilts the mix one way or the other. And put that down there. In fact, I'm going to take it up there too. That's quite a nice colour. And then I'm going to make that darker still, because over here it gets darker in the background, over in the where that plant pot is, over here is quite dark. And then just change the brush quickly to do the curtain. I want another round brush. I've got a bristle brush here. Just going to lighten it a little bit, get a little bit of that yellow, more creamy, buttery sort of colour in. I'm going to put that in for the curtain in the corner. And just roughly blocking that in. And then it goes kind of bluish back into the corner again. My tape may be giving away. So just mixing my tertiary colours again. And, oh, that's too light. Put that over here. And the tabletop goes up here. So I want to try and get some of that pattern in from this blue spotted tabletop. Oh, it's not very good. Wipe it off. There's a blueness to the shadows in the curtain there. And dark in there. So I'm just taking that deeper, kind of a warm purpley kind of colour over there. But I don't want it too smooth. That's now too smooth. So sort of blended it a little bit too much, and I don't really want it to be like that. I like to be able to see the paint, not have it too neat. So I'm putting some blue over it, which will cool it down and also just invigorate it a little bit too. And that's also down here. Oh, so bright. So I'm just going to cool that down a bit with some red just to make it slightly purplier. And then deepen the warmth of the floor at the bottom there. Greenish, so just kind of put it on, have a look, see what you've got and adjust. Just slightly green. So I'm mixing and mixing here. That's okay. And I'm going to put some of that over here for this kind of shadow coming off the plant pot. I'm squinting. Most of the light is over here, so this here is not in such a strong light. It's got some light to it, so again I'm mixing the three together and I'm going to put that in roughly. I quite like the other bits of colour coming through from the background, keeps it lively. Just trim that down a bit and then dry my brush to get the flowers in. Just trying to find a good brush for that. Round. These are very old, these brushes, but I quite like a less neat brush, slightly scruffier brush for keeping textures and marks lively. So I use a mixture of new and old brushes. This is alizarin crimson with a little bit of blue in. Alizarin's quite transparent, but it is a good red, so I hope to put plenty on, I think. And you know, I've got a bit of blue in there too to give it this kind of richness. Quite an interesting, complicated shape in there. So that's that, and there's a bit in the centre, and then there's another clump of petals here. I'm trying not to fiddle as I put this on. I just a little bit bigger. And just place the paint on. Again, a bit more dark. So these are my colours I'm using. The alizarin here, taken some alizarin into here and added a little bit of blue, French ultramarine blue. These have this wonderful flicky, whippy kind of shape to them, which I can do with this brush. Just keep it as simple as possible. And now, as I'm looking at this, I'm realising that I haven't got the floor. Maybe where I was struggling with it, the floor needs to go behind the plant, behind the flowers. It's dark in there too. So, when you get those tones in, it just starts to really come to life. So the floor goes right up here. So I've got too much door and not enough floor. So I'm going to make up. And I'm thinking that's a dark red flower, so I think I'm going to keep the background more neutral and towards cool. So this is my mixture. I need plenty of it too. So it's going to be kind of a toned down greenish tertiary. You see how that works, but yeah, it's not far off. I'm just holding it up to the subject. Yeah, it is dark as well. So I'm going to take more blue, more red, more yellow, and try just warm it slightly. It's a pine floor, so it's kind of warm colours. Put that in there, and then it comes to the bottom of the curtains. And that goes there. Bring that down here too. Take that around the flowers and between them. Yeah, I think that's going to make the flowers stand out better when I put the light on them. So I'm putting the floorboards in and take that right up to here. And then there's the dark blue over there. So same brush, just make that top. Oh gosh, that's really vibrant. So putting red into it, red and blue together to make a deeper blue. Because I don't want that to really leap out, but I quite like the darkness up in that back corner. Bring that through here too. It's now 12 minutes past 3, so I've been at this just over 15 minutes. So kind of halfway through really. And want to just get that pot a little bit more developed. There's quite a lot of light here. I think it's bouncing up from the cloth behind it. need that dark in there. And picking up all sorts of colours there, I don't think that's very helpful. So I've picked up some white there, so we'll deepen that. Then I'm going to put in, all these other colours are now drying, so I can go back over them if I want to in a bit. And then I want to put in the highlights here, the lighter tones on that fabric. Just checking it's got a slight blueness to it. It's a kind of winter, bright winter's day outside. So I put that kind of comes around there. And actually there's a leaf coming down. I'm just mixing some green into my dark mix here. There. And that needs to come down there. A bit dark. Just kind of being generous with the paint. Okay. And then that shape is so important around there where those petals are hanging over. So I've got my white and I'm going to put a touch of blue in the white here. So this is my white patch with a little bit of, I'm going to take some of that blue, that's what I've put in the pot. And I'm going to do that, put that in up here. Just nibble around the leaves. And I'm going to get a bit more. It's slightly bright, but it's the right kind of tone. It's just a bit too blue. Go a little bit purpley with that. Just lighten it a bit. And bring that over here too. Just a bit light for there, but it needs a little bit of that over here too. Dudley, keeping track of everybody. Right, and that can go. And I can kind of, if I'm careful, I can just neaten the pot a little bit. I don't want to make it too stiff looking, but it just kind of makes it slightly more pot-like. Kind of warm shadow over here, which is quite a nice effect. Getting beigeier. And I've got to take that up there because I've made the floor too big. You can see how forgiving the paint is here. You can really just add and add because it's drying quickly. I haven't got any gel retarder or anything in here, so it's all drying off quite quickly. Now up there, is the dark blue of the tabletop. So I've got my ultramarine blue, which is very, very vibrant. It's not really quite the same colour. So I'm deepening it with the alizarin. More alizarin, more blue. And then that goes up there. Yeah, it's okay. It sort of makes a shape. I'm going to take the floor up there, I think. So I'm going to mix a bit more of the floor colour. It's kind of rich reddish brown. Actually, I need it to be a little bit more purpley. There we go. And take that up there because the blue of the tabletop isn't great. The blue of that flower pot in the background. So just go a little bit cooler. I think I need a more neutral grey. A bit light. I'm just trying what's going to work because at the moment that's very unclear. What do I do? It's not neutral, but it's good with that red. Try that. God. No, it's not working either. Right, okay. I'm mixing the three colours together here. I think that warm colour is better. I've experimented. There we go. I think maybe that's better. Work that in up there. Hold it steady a bit. Sometimes you just got to get hold of it. There we go. So just kind of simplify the background a bit and get some light in up there. Just hint at what's there. That's better. Okay. So I've got a couple of minutes left. I just want to get those flowers working. So I'm going to get the alizarin and put a little bit of the titanium white in it and a little bit of yellow because the titanium white tends to make the red look more lilac. So I can lighten it with a bit of yellow to trying to see it against the flower here, holding it up. Go a little bit lighter. Adding a bit more of everything. Try that. And then these come up kind of flame-like here. Just where the light is catching on them. And then I can go in with more of the deep alizarin. Fabulous colours. There's one there that's catching the light. Just here. And I've got to put the pale greens in. So I'm just putting some white into one of these warm greens. Just little touches really. And darker version. For this side it's the tones. Oops, not very well blended. And make sure I've got enough of the dark green now. That's a good colour for this. A bit of life to that too. And that's it, that's half an hour. Okay, I hope you found that interesting and that you could hear me above the angle grinder and the dog mooching around down here. And I hope you found lots of useful tips in there too. Thank you for watching. Please click like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again. Bye bye.